So I don't know if you can see that, but that's a lot of traffic. And it's all because of a measly one-car accident. That's all it takes to ruin your day. Yep. All right, guys, we just had a small lunch here. We are about 40 minutes off of Phoenix, Arizona. We ran into this town called Casa Grande off of the 10 freeway. And let me go ahead and show you guys here. We got an abandoned outdoor mall. Now this place is just ginormous. I mean, this reminds me of a portion of what the Cabazon outlets over in California looks like. The only difference is this is completely abandoned. Now let me show you guys what we're talking about here. It looks like there's a lot of shrubs, missing pylon sign up there. You got broken windows, boarded doors, and this is just sad to see that at one time this area here, it was actually hustling. You know, there was actually a lot of movement here at one point. I'm pretty sure. You can definitely see. This is just very sad. But you know, the sad part is that as we are driving through this area, what I have noticed as we're driving through Arizona is that we run into all these towns off of the 10 freeway where it's all the same businesses. You got Targets, Walmarts, Marshalls, Kohl's, and it's the same thing over and over and over again. So I feel like there's really no incentive for the average person to want to visit certain towns because you get the same experience everywhere. And I think that's what a lot of people are yearning for, is to be able to live in a town where, yes, maybe it does have a couple things like that, you know, where you get corporate America, but then you have the access to little mom and pop shops or restaurants that are actually, they have better food, a better customer service, and they're unique to that area. So it gives you more of an incentive as a tourist to be able to say, hey, you know what, let me visit this area in particular because you can't get it anywhere else. But yet, if you have a place that is available all over the United States, then there's really no incentive for you to actually go visit that spot. So that's the way I see it. You can't get that experience anywhere else. So let me show you guys here as well. We got a bunch of broken glass. It looks like this place was already hit by multiple people. And you can see up ahead here, I mean, this is just someone completely broke into the spot. Here you got all the glass, all the shattered glass. And like I said, we're right off the freeway. It looks like there's still a building here. I think it's called Meals and Wheels. So there's a couple cars there. And you still have more boarded storefronts. My concern is, can something like this happen in my area? You know, it's very difficult to be able to predict. I'm not sure how this place ended up the way it is right now. I mean, something must have happened that caused this, because usually places like this, they tend to have a lot of financial backing. So I'm thinking that the reason why this place completely got shuttered down was probably because of the actual management itself. They probably ran into some financial issues with the last recession that we had in 2008. That's the only thing I can think of, because it's very difficult for an entire place like this to completely shut down. And you might have some stores that perform well, But then there's other ones out there that just, they fail. They don't have enough people coming in to be able to purchase their products, to be able to keep them afloat. And that's something that JB and I were talking about today, about how there's certain restaurants and certain businesses that somehow stay open throughout the years, and every time you drive right by them, you never see anybody in there shopping, you never see anybody in there consuming their products, and you wonder how they continue to stay open, especially in today's environment where it's very competitive. Sometimes in an outlet mall like this, you run into situations where you'll have multiple vendors that'll sell similar products. So you really do have to put out really good specials to be able to incentivize people to come in to be able to purchase your product versus the one that's a couple doors down. And that's what ends up happening in places, like I said, the Cabazon outlets over there near where we live at has a similar situation where maybe you have different clothing stores, or maybe you have a lot of different places that sell similar products. And so there's people that are loyal to the brand that will continue to come by, but even then, you have to make a certain amount of money every single day and every single week to be able to continue paying your employees, and you have to be able to make a profit as well, because obviously you are a for-profit corporation, so if you're in business here, you do have to be able to make enough money to be able to feed your family. Yeah, it seems like every single door here, or every single window, was pretty much shattered. It almost looks like an earthquake just came in and just shattered every single window. It's very hard for me to picture a place like this full of people in today's economy. I think that even if this whole place was full of stores, I don't think that it would actually have enough foot traffic right now to be able to survive. If you decided to fill it up with vendors, I think that there would be struggling businesses right now in this area. People are just completely used to shopping online now. Most people that I know, they buy most of their stuff from Amazon now. It's very common, especially because a lot of places right now actually get their stuff really fast from Amazon now. They have next day delivery. So if you order it by a certain time, your product, you can get it the following day. And there's even instances where you can get your products the same day as well. And it's getting very difficult to be able to compete with such a large corporation like Amazon or Costco, or these real large corporations. You know, you got Walmart and Target. Those places pretty much are taking over America with all of these cheap Chinese goods. And so now places like this, it's very difficult to be able to keep them full of people and to be able to pull in the average customer to be able to consume their products. You can see that this is where the mall office was at. So like I said, these are just rows and rows and rows of empty spots. This actually says Phoenix Mart. So they still have that sign up, the Arizona Tourist Visitor Center. My opinion on these types of buildings and the future of these buildings, I really do think that whoever decides to purchase this building or this plot of land, they're probably going to have to tear it down, because commercial buildings, they tend to deteriorate when you don't have anybody using them over several years like this. Eventually, you're not getting any use out of it, so it's probably going to have to be demolished, and you're going to have someone that has serious money to be able to completely level out the land and start fresh. I do not see anybody trying to rehab this place, I don't think it's worth it. You're gonna need some really, really deep pockets to be able to get this place rolling again. Especially because people now, like I said, no one's loyal anymore. No one's loyal. And you can pour millions of dollars into this project, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna get the correct return out of it. So it's a very risky proposition right now, especially as we're entering into a situation in these next couple years where it's gonna get very difficult to be able to get funding from investors to be able to rehab a place like this. It's a mix of people not shopping in person anymore and management's fault as well. Because maybe you did have a couple businesses here that performed well. Maybe they had their constant flow of people coming in and purchasing their items or, you know, their services, but it's a group effort. If most of the businesses here are not doing well, the landlord is gonna have a rough time to be able to keep up paying their expenses, and eventually everything's just gonna rot and they're just gonna have to get rid of everybody. It's a very tough situation to be in. And you know, over there where I live at in Indio, there's several places that I've actually met a very, very bad fate. Number one, we have a place nearby in Palm Springs. It used to be called the Palm Springs Mall. That place, little by little, started deteriorating. Less and less people were visiting it. Got to a point where there was just a couple businesses open, and so little by little, eventually, everybody had to leave because the food court was completely closed off at one point. Maybe there was like a GNC, and I think a place to take pictures, and maybe a Radio Shack. And it got to a point where there was only 2 or 3 businesses in that mall that were still thriving. And eventually, they all got evicted from the landlord. And the entire place was completely shut down. And now I think they converted the entire place into an educational center. I believe it has something to do with the college. So it's no longer a mall. They repurposed the entire thing. And that can actually happen to other places. That we have the INDIO Mall, which actually is going down that path as well. I think right now they probably have only one business open in there. Maybe an optometrist, if that. And eventually it's gonna meet the same fate where the people who decide to pour money into that building, they're probably gonna have to repurpose the entire thing. I don't think it's gonna get to a point where they'll demolish it. Maybe they will. It's going down that same fate, just like what you see here. You know, they may end up turning this into a college campus. I don't know. What else can they do with these types of buildings? But eventually, I think people will find a way. But it could be 10, 15, 20 years down the line. We don't know. So we're gonna go and continue on our journey here. We just wanted to stop by, show you guys a little bit of what we found here on the road. And if any of you have any opinions or comments on this, or if you have driven by here and know a little bit more about the history of this building, please drop it in the comments below. I would like to hear your opinions. I'm not very familiar with this area. This was just spur of the moment. Decided to come by and check this place out. But I know that there's some of you out there that are probably from the Phoenix area and maybe actually got to visit this place when it was still open and it was still thriving. And that could have been 10, 15 years ago. See what else we find. And it looks like they're actually selling the building. This building is actually available for sale. It's a commercial center. A portion of this building will have to be eventually demolished. All right, we'll see what we find next. All right, guys, check this out here. Like I said before, every single door and every single window was blown out already. There's just glass everywhere. So it looks like this place was actually called Citygate. That was the name of it at one point. But it was an outdoor mall. Probably the closest thing that I've seen to this would be the Cabazon outlets. Like I said again, the Cabazon outlets, it's a totally different animal. They do have a lot of loyal foreign tourists that go there all the time, especially from places like China. They're taking a large gamble because we don't know where the economy will be at. They're gonna have to think 30, 40 years down the line, and maybe then they'll be able to turn some sort of profit. All right, so we just made it to a rest stop out here. So yeah, we're somewhere close to New Mexico. Check this out over here. Real nice views. So we're getting ready to get back on the road here. Just had to take a small pit stop. And we're gonna see how far we can get into Texas today. We've been doing pretty good. Now, one of the things that I did notice in Arizona, so many police cars on the road, so many people getting pulled over for various reasons. Some of them even look like they have been drug busts. You'll see multiple cop cars pulling a car over. So it's just amazing. I know in the past I've been pulled over. Usually it's because of tinted windows or no front license plate and the little things like that, but who knows what these people are getting pulled over. I think it's mostly speeding. There's a lot of open road. And so there was actually one instance where there was a police car way behind us, and he just went past us and pulled over the car right in front of us. So you just never know. You just have to be really careful and really alert, especially in these large open roads, because you can easily do anything over the legal speed limit if you're not very careful, especially if you're driving around in a good car. So we're going to continue on our journey and see what we find. All right, so we just made it to a town called Demington in New Mexico. And let me show you where the gas is at right now. $2.79 a gallon. It's not bad. And then there's Popeyes right behind there. I don't want to know anything about Popeyes right now. And the Greasy Hut back there. I'm currently trying to upload a video here for you guys, but the internet is just very spotty, and some of these remote areas have very little signal. But it's like watching paint dry, and that is the trials and tribulations of uploading YouTube videos, where sometimes you want to be able to get these videos out by a certain time, but unfortunately the signal does not work with you. So if I'm at home, I get usually a pretty fast signal. I can upload a video very fast. But when you're in these remote areas, or you're out here trying to get good content for people, sometimes it can get very difficult to find good internet, especially because a lot of my videos, I usually try to keep them between 15 and 20 minutes or so, and I feel like that's a good time for you guys, you know, to be able to get content out for you. So we'll see what happens. I'm almost done uploading a video here, and we're gonna continue on our journey. Award-winning rest area, 1992. Wow, look at these views. We're so close to Las Cruces right now. These views are awesome. Oh, we're getting very close to be able to get to Las Cruces, New Mexico. Then after that, we're gonna go ahead and make it to El Paso. And hopefully before it gets dark, we can stop by, get a good dinner, and then try to find a place to stay overnight. So we're getting close to be able to get to our destination. Stay tuned. And it just so happened that for the third time now, I lost my AirPods.